Hi everyone, this is Sasha from Women's Fight News. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe. Co-main. So this is an undisputed fight. Alycia Baumgardner, who obviously beat Michaela Mayer, and then no surprise, Choi vacated. So obviously the WBA belt is vacant for this fight. Rack, how do you see this going?
First of all, let's just talk about the WBA position there. It wasn't necessarily a case where Choi chose to vacate. It was vacated from her from the WBA because when the fight got put to her, she was injured. She couldn't take the fight for whatever reason. But I feel with Choi now, we've heard this excuse for the last decade now when it comes to making defenses and fights. So yeah, that is now on you.
Was anyone surprised when Choi come out after turning down 15,000 fights with champions and was like, "Oh, I'm injured"?
That's why I'm actually going to, well, it's very long overdue that they've done it, but props to the WBA for actually doing something which is within their job spectrum and enforcing a fighter to vacate a title so that it can actually be defended, because it's been long enough. It's been long enough. So
champion in recession though, isn't she? So when she comes back from her injury, she has the right to then challenge for that undisputed title, basically. That's a joke.
No, I think it is a joke, but I don't mind that. If she's going to fight for a title, if you're going to put her in a title fight and she has to actually show up, then that's fine. She'll either win,
she won't,
or she'll get beat and she's out the picture. But that's fine. You just can't hold on to that world title around your waist. You call yourself what you want: interim, regular, champion in recess, secondary champion, emeritus champion. Call yourself whatever you want, but just don't have the world around your waist. If you want to fight Alycia or Mekhaled next year or something, or whenever you get back, that's fine. But you just can't hold the main strap. And of course, going into this fight, funny enough, Mekhaled, she lost her last fight to Delphine Persoon. So questions do have to be asked. Why is she then going on to fight for the full world title? I know last year she was offered this fight at, I think, a couple of weeks' notice, and she kicked off it on social media and she said, "Oh, okay, I'm retiring. I can't take this sport." So she's got what she asked for. She's got it, a fair camp, a fair build-up. She's got it for bigger stakes this time. But I don't think that she's at the level that Alicia's been operating at in the last year and a half. Alycia, of course, she came over, got the stoppage over Terry Harper. She then went on to beat Michaela Mayer. A lot of people said they don't think it was a win, but either way, it was a very close fight. She edged Michaela to a very close fight. She's come on heaps and bound, massive improvement. All the resources, all the funding, all the DAZN backing. I think now Alycia, it's fair to say she might be just at two levels above for Mekhaled, but we'll see on fight night.
What do you think, Susie?
I think it's could potentially be a very competitive fight, actually, because I think Elhem showed what she was about against Delphine. She might have lost, but it was some good toe-to-toe action. I can't remember what the scores were, but
she lost. Two judges had it 96-94 and another judge had it 97-93. I watched it this morning. I would say 96-94, but very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
Anybody who's having a close fight with Delphine Persoon, you can't rule out, because there are anybody doing well against her is a good fighter in my books. So I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm never going to bet against Alycia ever again, obviously.
You've done that one too many times.
That's it. She stepped over. But I do think it's going to be quite competitive and I'm going to enjoy it very much, I think. I do think Alicia's going to win, but it's going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, initially, I was like, well, Alycia Baumgardner's going to win. Okay. And I still think that because, again, like you, I am never betting against it because she knocked out Terry Harper and then, she got the next win. Then she beat Michaela Mayer. So I'm not playing that game no more, betting against her. But Elhem, I think they have very similar styles, from what I watched. When I watched Elhem against Delphine Persoon, and again, I mean, there was an argument for me. It could have been a draw, depending on a couple of swing rounds. So hard to score with Delphine Persoon because her arms don't stop moving. It's very hard to know what's landed and what's not. So I can see why judges must have a hard time scoring for her. But I actually think Elhem and Alycia have somewhat similar styles. They both have a big overhand right because Elhem landed that a good few times against Pursuin. She's got good defence. And what she does have, which this is the one thing I believe is still a question mark with Alycia, not that it's her fault. Elhem has a very good engine. She went that distance with Delphine at a very, very high, at the Delphine Pursuin pace, which is like above anyone else's pace. And she went the 10 rounds and she's done very well. Alycia, obviously, she knocked out Terry in the 4th round. Her next opponent, it wasn't a fast-paced fight whatsoever. I thought it was very last-minute fight, wasn't it? It was a bit slow, didn't get going. The Michaela Mayer fight wasn't a fast-paced fight at all. It didn't light up like we thought. So I'd be interested to see if Elhem brings it to her and brings that pace she had in the last fight against Delphine, how Alycia reacts. Because Alycia in the last 3 fights we've seen is kind of being used to dictating the pace herself. So that's something I'm interested to see. But yeah, I think the momentum is definitely with Alycia Baumgardner, isn't it? She must be on cloud 9 after beating Michaela Mayer. Like Rack said, all the money, the endorsements, the investment Matchroom are now putting into her. That's confidence right there. And she does ooze confidence, even against Michaela Mayer, which is a 50-50 fight. She's chatting to her in the middle of the ring in the fight. She's got her arms down. Like she was smiling. Like she was so confident and just enjoying every moment of that fight. That I think she'll go into this fight even more confident, which obviously makes her even more dangerous. But it wouldn't be the biggest shock if Elhem won. It wouldn't be the biggest upset in boxing history. Mm-hmm. I think she's got the tools to do it, but I think she would have to catch herself on her best night and Alycia on a slow night, possibly. But we'll see. Time shall tell. But again, look forward to that. I think I would have preferred the Delphine Pursuin because it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I believe, there was someone come out and said Delphine Pursuin rejected it, and then Delphine Pursuin came out and went, no one offered me it. So we'll never know. Which is exactly what boxing is, isn't it? Probably, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Alycia Baumgardner, it was someone who come out and was like, we've offered you the fight. She was like, no, you haven't. But both sides have they believe that that's true, and it's the person in the middle that's lying to everyone. But the winner could potentially get Delphine Pursuin. I'd like it.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Do you know what? As for a boxing perspective, yeah, that would be a good fight. Delphine Pursuin versus the winner. But from Alycia Baumgardner's perspective, that's a bit of a risky fight with not much reward. Maybe I can fight a campaign for a Katie Taylor or a Michaela Mayer rematch or one of the other girls that are floating about where there's going to be a bit more spectacle, a bit more buzz around their name. Because Delphine Pursuin, she's like one of the boogeymen in the division. She's boogie women in the division. She's a great fighter, but it just doesn't come with much reward. And it's going to be a tough one. And you lose, you've lost it all. You win, oh, well, no one knew in the first place. So, yeah. So I can see maybe her vacating the belts, Pursuin maybe fighting for one of the vacant belts and going on her own campaign then. But I don't know. I just don't see anything for Alycia to take that fight as a defense when there's so many options out there now. There's so many options out there for now.
Yeah. Someone's put Pursuin as too big for 130. She's obviously just fought at 130. Pursuin doesn't enjoy being at 135. She made that clear against Katie Taylor, where she says she just struggles to get up at that weight. So I think that's her natural weight, actually, 130. So don't particularly agree with that. But I agree with what you've just said, Rack, where Alycia does have a lot of options. I still don't think she'll take the Michaela Mayer rematch, even though it'll be her biggest payday. I still don't think she'll take it, which I think is a shame. I think she could vacate and move up, but only if she got a title fight.
Or if it was another big name.
Would she get that fight? Would she get the Katie Taylor fight? I don't know. I mean, I'm convinced this is Katie's last year in boxing. I know she probably has another 5 years left, but I am super convinced. I've got my list of boxers that are retiring, and I think Katie's one of them. Which, I still am not. I think me and Susie, we spoke about this, didn't we? That fight doesn't particularly excite me, and I don't think it makes a ton of money. Katie Taylor, Alycia Baumgardner. I just think there's bigger fights for both of them separately. So
and I think Matchroom would be that keen, will they? Their new superstar Alycia fighting their superstar Katie. You know, it's two stars against one another, which could be big, but then equally, if there's buzz about other fights, then they'll probably go for the other fights.
Yeah, I just think for Katie, obviously you've got the Serrano rematch, which will happen this year, and then for me, if Katie needed another option, you've got Chantal Cameron, such a bigger fight than Alycia Baumgardner.
Is it?
So yeah, I think so. A lot bigger.
I don't know. I feel that Alicia's got more quote unquote star power than Chantal Cameron. I feel like her name is more notable on the scene. She's been doing her PR work. She's been getting herself about. I think in boxing, Alycia Baumgardner is probably more of a name than Chantal Cameron, and that's just because not knocking any Chantal Cameron's boxing. It's just because she's so quiet. Alycia is just out there. Everyone knows about Alycia. Everyone's keeping up to date with what she does. But Chantal's a lot more quiet. I think Alycia maybe be the bigger name.
As a boxing fan, though, someone who knows all the fighters, like as proper fans, what fight take away the other bit, take away the business side and who the bigger name and stuff. What fight though is bigger in the ring? Is it Alycia Baumgardner, Katie Taylor, or Katie Taylor, Chantal Cameron? Just purely in the ring.
Yeah, of course. But of course, Chantal Cameron probably does come across as the more equipped fighter. But it's never just about the boxing. It's never just about who in the ring's going to put on the best show. It's all that comes with it. The build-up, the press conference, the everything around. And on that department, I definitely think Alycia... Yeah, I definitely think Alycia is definitely the bigger profile name than Chantal Cameron.
I don't know what it is. That fight just doesn't excite me at all. I don't know what it is.
I always think, because Chantal Cameron's a UK-based fighter, of course, Ireland isn't the UK, but pretty much Ireland is treated like the UK when it comes to their fighters in boxing. We've seen them develop, we've seen their early stages, we've seen their whole career, and there's always been that link of, could Chantal Cameron be the next Katie Taylor? Could they fight? They're only one division apart. And in our head, that's been embedded for time and time and time and time and time. Whereas Alycia, she only came on the scene a year and a half ago.
Mm.
So we've been conditioned that Chantal, Katie Taylor is the fight for the next generation. But when you look at it on paper, Chantal and Alycia have done, well, after Saturday, if Alycia wins, they've done exactly the same thing on paper.
Mm-hmm.
They've done exactly the same thing on paper. No one's done more than the other. So who's to say that Chantal is a better boxer than Alycia? Because they've both done the same thing. And we can even argue that Alycia took the more challenging route to be there. She took 2 away fights. She beat two favorite fighters, and then she got her belts.
No, I do agree. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think you mentioned, didn't you, Susie? Because it's like Alicia's on a path to becoming undisputed at featherweight. So maybe when she's done that, I might be open to it. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it's not my decision, but I still would. There's just other fights, I think, for Katie Taylor. But I don't know. I think I'm stuck on. I would like to see the Alycia and Michaela Mayer rematch. So maybe that's my issue. I don't know. Who knows? But she's got to obviously get through this fight on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, her confidence will be sky high.